Hello, Garland Nixon here, and Trump and the U.S. empire find themselves in a real sticky wicket. Let's talk. Hello, Garland here, and let's talk about where we find ourselves in the in West Asia, shall we say. There's more to there's a lot there are a lot of ways to look at this. The potential conflict here, and the potential outcomes. Of course, you can look at it only through the lens of the US versus Iran, right? And this is what we're asking them for. Now, let's just say this. I think you have to ignore the business about we're asking for anything to do with nukes. Forget that. That's absurd and ridiculous. We had a nuclear, a JCPOA, which is a Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That was an agreement that was made between the Barack Obama administration and the Iranians, and it had to do with the Iranians not developing a nuclear weapon, which was easy for the Iranians. It would be like saying, Garland, we want to make a deal with you. And I say, what's the deal? We want to make a deal that you won't cast a magic spell on people and turn them into frogs. And I'd be like, well, what? I'd say, what? If you said, and this is what we'll give you, I'd say, well, whatever you give me, I'll take it. I'm not going to do that anyway. So whatever you're offering me in return for not doing something that I'm not going to do, I'll take it. If it's one piece of candy, Garland will give you one piece of candy if you'll promise not to turn people into frogs. Yeah, what the hell? I ain't turning people into frogs anyway. I don't care what you give me. I'll take it. Although I might try to bargain a little bit. You better make it 2 pieces of candy. I don't know. That's some real froggy intentions here. That guy over there, I may turn him into a frog, but can you go for 2? What the hell? But I'll take 1 because I ain't turning nobody into frogs. Here's my point. The U.S. intelligence agencies have repeatedly released reports and documents that have said, we do not have any evidence that Iran is attempting to build a nuclear weapon, that they have a nuclear weapons program, that they have restarted their nuclear weapons program. So how can the United States be bargaining with Iran about Iran's nuclear weapons program when the intelligence agencies of the United States have already said, we have no evidence that Iran has a nuclear weapons program? It's easy for Iran. Where does that take us? That makes it obvious with something we already know. It has nothing to do with the nuclear weapons program. I'm glad to see that Iran is getting to the money here. They're getting to the reality of it. Number 2, the U.S. then said, hey, we've paid a bunch of CIA and Mossad agents to go in there and try to start a bunch of protests. All right, that's working. We got the protests. Doggone, we might have to attack Iran because they're killing, hurting, injuring the protesters, which happen to be CIA and Mossad agents. And the U.S. even admitted it. But that didn't work because Iran was able to put the protests down. Okay. So then they're like, ballistic missiles, that's the ticket. Iran can't have, I'm thinking, how many bullcrap ideas can you come up with? I think we know that you just want Iran out of the way. So Iran, they're like, ballistic missiles, you can't have ballistic missiles that can hit Israel. And Iran's like, so let me get this straight. Israel can have ballistic missiles that can hit me, but I can't have ballistic missiles that can hit them. The answer to that is 9. Niet, nada, no, not happening. The U.S. says, you better listen. Iran says, nope, not doing it. So apparently, as best I understand it, the U.S. at some point said to Iran, let's play the same game we played before. Let's do this. We'll just like drop some bombs in the desert somewhere upon wherever we agree with. And then you guys can throw some missiles in the desert somewhere, wherever we agree with. And then we'll go home. Right? We'll just call it that. And Iran's like, now we played that game before. Not going to happen. Not going to do it. Sorry, you're out of luck. I see somebody loves my tinfoil hat. Hey, go to the show notes. I got the link straight. And you too can get yourself any number of tinfoil hats. I got them all kind of ways. So go to the show notes, click on my merch store, and guess what? You can get yourself a tinfoil hat. You're nobody until you have a tinfoil hat. Anyway, so let me continue. Okay, so that's where we are. The U.S. is making up stuff. Yes, ballistic missiles. No, I mean nukes. I don't know, protesters, whatever. And Iran's like, we're sick and tired of playing the game. We understand what it is. You want to overthrow our government. So the answer is no to everything. If you want to play the game, we'll make you some kind of a deal or whatever. But we ain't giving up, Nathan. We're not giving up. No, we're not playing with you anymore. And here's what Iran is saying. Look, we know, you know the game here. You're making up stuff because you want to overthrow us, because we are the only power in the region who can and will smash Israel to pieces in a blink of an eye, because we are supporting our allies in the area that will not allow Israel to dominate, that as long as we're here, Israel can't dominate. By the way, we're supporting the Palestinians, so you're out of luck. All right? You are out of luck. Not happening. Forget it. So my point is, Iran called their bluff, right? They're like, look, we've been down this road before. We ain't going down this road again. Okay. So what did the Trump administration say? All right. Well, in that case, we'll surround you with military stuff. So you can surround us with military stuff. You can surround us with targets if you want, but if you touch us, we're going to start shooting at those targets. And you already know that we can hit them. So what are you going to do? Barbecue or mildew? It's okay. So now Trump brings in all of this stuff. Well, meanwhile, you've got the media and all the neocon press and everything. Oh boy, them sons of bitches is going to get it now. We got us the war, and the U.S. is going to smash Iran, crush them, destroy them. Yes, Iran's finally going to get it, and we're going. And of course, all the Zionists are like, woo-hoo-hoo, we're going to get it, and they're going to get it now. So Iran's like, okay, you guys can play all that game, all the games you want to, as long as you don't touch me. You touch me, we're going to knuckle junction. So here you have the U.S. Apparently one of Donald Trump's negotiators, Steve Witkoff, which is really just a golfing buddy. Steve Witkoff says recently, President Trump is baffled, stunned, perplexed. Why haven't the Iranians taken the deal that we've offered them? Why we've surrounded them everywhere with airplanes, ships, you name it. We've got an armada of ships. We got planes everywhere. We got everything we could to blast them. And why? Why won't the Iranians just take a deal? And the Iranians are like, we don't need a deal. We don't need a deal. We need you to leave us the hell alone. You need a deal. You're the one asking for a deal. We ain't asking for a deal. Oh, by the way, we have red lines, things we are willing to negotiate about and things we aren't. Well, we'll negotiate about the nuclear program, but we only got so far we'll go on that. We got things we'll say yes to and things we'll say no. So let's now get to the core issue here that I'm getting at. This is the core issue. It's the same issue as the Ukraine issue, but a little bit different. Just the dynamics different. The United States said we can build NATO and open NATO bases and everything right up to your border. And Russia said, no, not. Don't try Ukraine or Georgia. If you try Ukraine or Georgia, then we're going to have to put a stop to that. And the U.S. was like, what the hell are you talking about? You don't get a say here. We are the world's boss. Nobody tells us what we can do. Now, Russia, here's what you need to understand. You can't come anywhere near our borders. You can't come to Mexico. You can't come to Cuba. You can't come to Venezuela. You can't come anywhere in our hemisphere. You can't build a base. You can't make a friend. You can't do anything anywhere in our hemisphere. Nowhere even close. But we'll come right up to your border in Ukraine and start building bases, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we said, and Russia said, well, I guess we'll have to see what happens, because we ain't going to let that happen. We're going to fight it out. Now, it just so happens that Russia has nukes and all kinds of nasty weapons. And the United States was like, all right, we're doing this proxy war. And there was a reason the U.S. did a proxy war, because they knew good and damn well if they went to war with Russia that there would be no United States. Somewhere towards the end of that, the United States would cease to exist. And they knew it. And dying ain't no way to make a living, right? And so the greedy Zionists they want to steal everything that ain't nailed down, but what they don't want to do is get annihilated. And if they screw around with Russia, they will be annihilated, and they know it. So they said, we'll do the proxy war thing. And now they figure out, okay, we might have lost the proxy war. Yikes. We'll see how we can play that game. Okay. And what was that about? It was about being the dominant force. We're going to tell Russia what to do, and we ain't going to back down ever. We never back down. We're in charge of the whole world. Now they went over to Iran. Iran, you must do this. Iran says, no. Well, you got to, because we're the boss. Iran says, well, you may consider yourself the boss, but the answer is no. So now the U.S. says, oh, yeah? Oh, well, really? Oh, you're going to listen to us? You don't realize who we are? Watch this. We'll bring in ships, planes, B1s, B2s, B3s, B4s, all kind of Bs. We're going to bring in B-52s, F-35s, you name it, everything. We're going to encircle you, excuse me, with all this military power, and then you'll do what we're told. And Iran says, yeah, well, the answer's still no. And if you so much as throw a rock across our border, we're going to cut loose on you. We're going to cut loose on you. And you know we got a lot of missiles, and we ain't afraid to use them. Oh, by the way, meanwhile, what happens? Russia shows up, China shows up, and they say, well, you know what? We'll help you out. And they help. Apparently, they are helping the Iranians with some air defense. They're helping them with electronic warfare. They're helping them with technology, space-based technology for ISR, which is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, targeting, things of that nature. So they have made Iran a much tougher target. And the U.S. is like, not really sure. We know Russia and China has some nasty, really powerful stuff and really high-tech stuff. We don't know what they have, but we don't have a way of knowing. Maybe they got an idea, maybe not, but we don't know. How about that? So now there's a standoff, and the standoff is Trump has said, Iran, you will either bend at our knee and do what we tell you, or the bad things are going to happen. To which Iran said, well, I guess bad things are going to happen. But trust me when I tell you this. If bad things are going to happen to me, bad things are going to happen to everybody. Bad things ain't just going to happen to me. They're going to happen to me. They're going to happen to you. They're going to happen to Israel. And they're going to be real bad. And you better ask yourself, do you want this kind of pain? Because we're going to shut off the Straits of Hormuz. Now, we'll briefly talk about this because I'm sure you've heard all this stuff before. If the United States attacks Iran and Iran does what they said, and I have no reason to believe they are bluffing, and Iran says, that's it. What at this point, what do they have to lose? The U.S. has said, we're overthrowing your government and we'll kill your leaders. What do they got to lose? So Iran now says, look, so you do that, we're going to dance. Well, I'm throwing everything I got at you, which means this, that Iran, at that point, they're going to close the Straits of Hormuz, which will immediately raise the price of gasoline in the United States and in Europe in an astronomical way. And Trump only has the U.S. government right now. I think 21% of Americans are in favor of this. There's 79, not so much. So now you're going to take an act, and within 1 to 2 to 3 days after that act, within days after that act, people will go to the gas station. 79% of the people didn't want this. And their lives will be destroyed. They will say, how do you expect me to survive? Businesses will say, how do you expect me to survive? Grocery stores, we gotta run the prices up, and people are going to go to the grocery store and see a thing of eggs for $20. How much are eggs? Well, wait a minute. This eggs was $3, $2 the other day. Now it's $12 for eggs. Oh my God, there's a steak, $70. Oh my God, I can't afford any of this stuff. Wait a minute. Let me look at my gas and electric bill, because a lot of these gas and stations. Electric stations are made from or fired by hydrocarbons. Oh, by the way, your gas, which 25% of the gas goes through the Straits of Hormuz. So you look at your gas bill. First of all, you can't afford food. Secondly, you can't afford fuel. And thirdly, you look at your gas and electric bill, and it's equal to like your rent or your mortgage, depending on where you live. Bad news. Americans are going to go. I mean, I hate to say, put it like this: Americans are going to go ape shit, and they're going to say, "I need you to fix this yesterday," and they ain't going to be able to fix it. What are they going to do? Call Iran? Hey, Iran, about that war thing. Yeah. You think you could open the Straits of Hormuz? Hello? Hello? Hey, there's nobody there. I called them and asked them open the Straits of Hormuz, and they just hung up on me. And then the U.S. says, okay, we'll stop shooting at you. And Iran says, well, we ain't going to stop shooting at you. Yeah, but we're not going to shoot at you. Well, we're going to continue to shoot at you. Now, if you want us to stop, you can come negotiate for us to stop, but we ain't going to stop. And what happens if the U.S. says, well, we'll fire a nuke, and Iran says, you can fire a nuke, but we ain't going to stop. If you fire a nuke, then it's over. Oh, that's a nice looking nuclear power plant they got there in Israel. It'd be a shame if a couple of hypersonic missiles hit it and it were to melt down, wouldn't it? Now, if we were to get hit by a nuke or that Dimona nuclear power plant in Israel, I'm not saying that we would aim at it with a hypersonic missile or 10. I'm just saying perhaps when our aim would be off, we'd be aiming to just try to throw it in the desert or something. And what do you know? A salvo of hypersonic missiles may find their way into Israel's only nuclear power plant, melt the whole thing down, and the Israeli project will be no. So if you can throw a nuke at us if you want, I'm not saying you won't or you can't or anything like that, but we're going to throw a nuke at your monkey, and they're going with us. You want us to go? We're going to take your monkey with us. So do what you got to do. Meanwhile, if you want to bargain, we'll meet you in Oman, or the hell we'll meet. But you are going to have to negotiate your way out of this when you punch first and we punch last. And if you want us to stop, okay, fine. Oh, by the way, we're not opening the Straits of Hormuz till we're ready to open it. Meanwhile, Wall Street. And by the way, if you're like, hey, my economy's going to hell, and if you don't stop, I'll fire a nuke. And how do you think that's going to help your economy? Because if you fire a nuke, Israel's done. We'll finish them off immediately. There'll be a meltdown at their nuclear power plant. That's pretty much it for nuclear for Israel. Number one. Number two, we're going to start knocking out Saudi Arabia and some other countries. We'll knock out their oil infrastructure, which means that ain't going to be built back for years and years and years. So there's no way to fix that. So the only thing you do, if you throw a nuke at us now, if you don't throw a nuke at us, there's room for you to negotiate your way out of it. But if you do throw a nuke at us, you might as well throw it at yourself, because your economy's finished and there's no hope to fix it. There's no prayer. There's no way. If you throw a nuke at us, you're just saying we give. Our economy's done. China will make it. Russia will make it, but there ain't no way back for you. Oh, by the way, you'll be a pariah state. Who do you think will buy American goods? Who do you think will do business with you? Is that what you want? So if you get yourself into this mess, you got to ask us to let you out of it. You see, if the U.S. gets into it, then at that point, number one, Trump's career is finished. Trump, at that point, how things go with the Trump administration? Well, he was in there for a year and he blew the economy up. Oh, by the way, 10,000 Americans dead. The dead soldiers were coming home by the thousands. Oh, by the way, did I mention that only 21% of Americans were in favor of that? How do you think that's going to work with dead soldiers coming home by the thousands? If Trump gets his way into that, he's done. And our economy's done. Now, let me say this. That's one way to look at it. That's one perspective through which to analyze it. But there's another thing you have to take into account. It's too late to get out of the philosophical, ideological, rhetorical jam that the US has gotten itself into. Here's the deal. The US is the big bully on the block. We tell people around the world what to do and they say yay or nay. Well, now you're already in a fix with Ukraine because Russia said nay and you can't make them do it. And they're winning the war and they ain't going to stop until they win. There's no way to fix Ukraine. But at least they're a nuclear superpower. And at least you can make an excuse and say, well, they were a nuclear superpower. We couldn't very well go to war with them because we'd be nuked and we'll just try other ways. That won't work. We'll go other ways and we'll get to China. We were going to take Russia out and then take China out. But okay, fortunately, we were able to take Europe out, so that was a good thing. We took them down. That was part of the plan. In case you didn't figure that out, the European economy was viewed as a threat, and the American leadership wanted to neutralize that threat, and they were very effective. And now Europe is done, volunteered by these traitors that run the EU. Now, there's another way to look at it. Let's go back to the bully, the hegemon, the unipolar power, the country that runs the world. If the United States is the power, is the country that runs the world, that means people have to listen to us and do what we're told. That means when we say something, we can't back down, we won't back down, and we have to enforce it, right? You better do it. And the person says, no, I'm not. You better. Let me tell you a story. Well, I remember telling my daughter, she was like ninth grade or something, or whatever it was, and saying, let me just explain the reality to you. I could say to you, you better do this. And she could say, no. And I could say, well, if you don't, I will punish you. You could say, well, you can punish me, but I'm not doing it. I'll spank you. You can spank me, but I won't do it. I'll throw you out the window. You can throw me out the window, but you can't make me do it. You can put me in a spaceship and send me 100 billion miles across the galaxy, and I guess I'll be 100 billion miles away. But there's nothing you can do, because if I do it, it's voluntary. It's always a voluntary act. Nobody can make you do anything. They can threaten you, and they can say, if you don't, these are the results. And you can say, these are the punishments. This is that. And you can always say, I'm willing to take that. I ain't doing it. Right? And once somebody discovers that, you lose all power over it. Or they lose all power over you. If it's like people in, say, a relationship with an abusive mate, and the abusive mate says, you better do this. And they say, I'm not going to do that. Well, if you don't, I'll yell at you. They can say, well, you can yell at me, but I ain't doing it. I will hit you with this frying pan. You can hit me with this frying pan. The answer is still no. I will, whatever. You can say, you can, whatever. You can do those things. I can't stop you from doing that. I'll burn your clothes. Can't stop you from burning my clothes. You can do that. You're free to do what you want. I can't stop you from your actions, but I can tell you I will never do anything that I don't want. Somebody can put a gun in my head, do it or we'll shoot me, or I'll shoot you. I can say, you can shoot me. I can't stop you from doing that. You got a gun and I don't, but I'll be dead. But you still won't get what you want. I'm willing to die before I'll do what you want. You see what I'm saying? When you threaten someone, and they're at a point where they've had enough, a person can get to a point and you can say, I'll kill you if you don't. And they'll say, I'm ready to die. You can kill me. You know what? I've had enough. You're going to kill me. It's my time to go. You got to die sooner or later. This is just as good a day to die as any other day. But I tell you what, the hell I ain't going to do. I ain't doing what you want me to do. Your decision time for you. How are you going to do it? How are you going to deal with it? However, I don't know. The answer is no. Right now, that's where Iran is. And the US is telling everybody we're the unipolar power and we run the world. We run the world. So we are in a rhetorical corner, because we have said to Iran, you better fill in the blank. And Iran has said, we ain't filling in the blank. What you going to do? Barbecue or mildew? Here we are. Oh, yeah? Well, if you don't, we'll attack you. And Iran said, I know you can attack me. You got Jesse ships and all that stuff all over. Fair enough. We're willing to accept that. We're not going to do it. Fair enough. But I tell you, one thing's going to happen if you attack us. You ain't going to be happy about it. We got missiles, and you saw what we can do. You've seen our handiwork. 12, you call it the 12-day war when we pummeled Israel for 12 straight days. And they had to back out. Yeah, 12-day war ain't a war. 12-day war is a beatdown. 12 months may be a war, 12 years may be a war, but if you get smacked out in 12 days in a war, yeah, that's not a war, that's a beatdown. Israel got beat down for 12 days. They had to cry, they had to call Trump, they had to do everything in the world to get the hell out of that because they were turned into mincemeat in 12 days. You think the United States didn't take note of that? Ooh, those guys got a pretty heavy punch. Wouldn't want to be on the business end of that. So now the US looks at that and they're like, we know what they do. They've got it's like when you watch someone who has a particular style, this is the way they fight. And if you know how they fight and you know they're good at how they fight, it ain't easy to stop them, right? So now you have somebody who says, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to fool you. I'm not trying to outthink you. I'm not trying to hoodwink you. I'm not trying to tell you this and sneak over here. You look over there and poke you in the eyes. I'm not trying to do all that. Here's what Iran says. We got a lot of drones and we got some pretty accurate missiles. So what are we going to do? We're going to throw so many drones. We'll throw 100 drones at your base, and then we'll throw a dozen, 8 or 10, 12 missiles. Now, with all the drones coming in, they have explosives, so you got to try to shoot them down. Because if those drones hit you with those explosives, you got problems. Now, while you're busy trying to shoot the drones down, a bunch of missiles are coming in, which will be harder to shoot down. Now, pick your poison. Do you try to shoot down the drones? Do you try to shoot down because you ain't shooting down all of them? Oh, did I mention this? And that many more will be coming in another couple hours. And before you know it, you will be out of anti-aircraft missiles, air defense missiles. Because for air defense missiles, when somebody fires something at you, a projectile, you have to shoot at least 2 air defense missiles for each one projectile. I'm gonna run you out of missiles quick. I'm gonna hit you while I'm running you out of missiles, and then when you run out of air defense missiles, I'm gonna turn you into a pin cushion. No shame in Iran's game. There's no, oh, we got to fool you. They're not trying to fool you. We got good missiles. We got lots of drones. That'll work. Now, you don't know what they got on military as far as on a Navy. And you know what? If you think about it, since the drone and missile combination has come in, the only thing that has come into vogue in modern warfare, the only experience that the U.S. has is with the Houthis in Yemen. And they caught hell fighting the Houthis. They did everything they could, and a couple of ships still got hit with drones, and they still had some problems, and they ended up getting the hell out of there, and they got some F-18 shot down. They had to struggle with them. Because in this day and age, these anti-ship missiles and drones can be a problem. And that was nothing. That was nothing. That was dust compared to what's coming from Iran. Nothing compared to what's coming from Iran. So Iran says, you want to find out what kind of missiles we have, you start shooting at us. You want to know what kind of missiles we have? You want us to get rid of our ballistic missiles? We'd be happy to. Of one salvo at a time, heading towards your ships. Oh, no, that's right. You'd rather them go to Israel. Yes, sir. We will get rid of our ballistic missiles. We'll send them to Israel. One salvo at a time. They will be accompanied with lots of drones, but we'd be happy to send them to you, airmail to Israel, airmail to your bases. I know, we all know that we can hit your bases. Can you hit us? Yeah, probably. Oh, by the way, we got some surprises for you from our friends in Russia and China that we're not going to tell you, but we got some surprises. We got some things we may be able to pull off that you don't know. Do you really want to take that chance? Take it if you want to. But here's the score. And here's the corner that the U.S. empire has painted themselves into. They ran their yap. And they said to Iran, you better do what we want or else. And Iran has called their bluff. And the whole world's like this. What you say? You said they better do what you want? Iran? What do you say to that? The U.S. says you better do what you want. Iran's like, hey, kiss my. Oh, hey, that's right. They're Muslim. They don't use that kind of language. Iran says, well, in fact, I don't think we'll be going along with that. Hey, kiss my. And the U.S. was like, well, then we got ships and missiles and everything. And Iran's like, do what you gotta do. Let's dance. Let's dance. We're prepped. We're ready. We're ready to go. Let's dance. You ready? I'm ready. What you gonna do? And now the U.S. and Trump's team, as far as I'm hearing it, let me tell you, I've listened to stuff, I've read stuff, I've looked around. Here's what I'm getting. I don't know if it's true, but I can tell you what is being reported in multiple spheres, right? And that is, it sounds to me like cold feet. Number one, that Tulsi Gabbard and Vance are saying to Trump, don't do it. If you do it, you're screwed. If you do it, you're finished. If you do it, you're done. You're cooked. You're fried. And I'll put it like this. Does that sound like it makes sense? Well, I'll put it to you like this. What do you think I'd tell Trump? Garland, Nixon, I need you to come to the White House. I'd be like, I'm on the way. But you're going to have to come up with dinner. Because I ain't coming to D.C. this time of night unless I'm eating, okay? And I don't want them stinking Pentagon pizzas either. I want something decent. Anyway, all right, Garland, sit down in the Oval Office. Fair enough. What do you think? Be like, I think you better get the hell out of here. I think you better get out of this situation because, like old boy Mr. Vance over there told you, if you do this, your goose is cooked. If you do this, first of all, you're going to lose a lot of soldiers in a very brief period of time, and we have no way of knowing how many. And the potential is there for you to lose this war. Not that you don't think about this. You want success in taking out the evil regime. I ain't saying that you won't. I don't think you will. But no, I didn't know everything. But there is another potential. And the other potential is, man, you could get snuffed. What happens if Russia and China has provided them with underwater drones? They got subs. Well, do you know where those subs are? Do you have any idea where their subs are? Could they be in the vicinity of your stuff? Could they be firing of your ships? Could they be firing underwater drones? Could they be firing surface drones and salvos of missiles all at the same time? Imagine you got a ship there and there's torpedoes coming in below the surface. There's surface drones coming in at you, and there's drones and missiles coming in. Some of your ships are going to get hit. Those ships got minimum 300 men, 300 souls, as they say on boats, 300 souls on board. Them boys are going to be sent to the great beyond. Are you ready for that, Donald Trump? One ship, hundreds of souls. What happened? All right, what are you going to go? Go in the air? Hello, my name's Donald Trump, and tonight I gave the order to attack Iran. You can come back a couple hours later. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, there's been some most unfortunate incidents that happened. We've lost several ships. Right now, we don't know how many soldiers are missing. We figure there's a minimum of 500 to 800 or something. I'll update you. How do you think that's going to go over? Come back in a couple hours. Well, some bases have been hit, and they ain't there no more. And there was a lot of soldiers in them, but they ain't there no more either. The bases ain't there, the ships ain't there, the soldiers ain't there, and there's still lots of incoming missiles. We're gonna call Iran and ask if we can tap out. Hello, Iran. Can we? Hello? I ain't saying for sure that that's going to happen, but that is a potential that cannot be ignored. And we sit here with Trump and the U.S. empire having made a demand. You will do something. You will do it. Look at us. We've got you surrounded. See, once you make that, you know what? If you don't do that, I'm going to punch you in the face. When you stick yourself out there, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. Because as soon as you say to this guy, man, if you don't do such and such, I'll punch you in the face. And the guy sets his beer down. Okay, I'm not doing it. Let's go. Now you have to attack somebody. And you might not know what this guy's about. Does he have a knife? Does he have a gun? Does he have a weapon? Is he a well-trained? Is he a martial artist? Is he a self-defense expert? You might be picking on the wrong dude. And might I add, he got 2 or 3 buddies in the bar. So if you start winning a fight, he's going to come in. You're fighting and his buddy hands him a club. Here's a Louisville Slugger baseball bat. Thanks there, Bob, Vladimir, G. Back. Then he hits you with it. And we already know his buddies are helping him. So the U.S. is in a corner because let's look at our option. The Iranians have said, we are willing to negotiate, but we have red lines. If you are the hegemon, if you are the world's power, the unipolar that tells everybody in the world to do what to do, then nobody has any red lines that you have to respect, right? You got to listen to these people. We have some red lines. Oh, you think we have red lines? You got red lines? Please. We are the masters around here, which means you will do what we tell you to do. So forget it. You get no red lines. But what happens when they say we got red lines and we will enforce them? We have boundaries. You ain't stepping over our boundaries. And it becomes this. Every time somebody says no, the question becomes, what do they say on the schoolyard? You better do this. What does the kid say? The kids got it. Kids understand. You know what the kid says? Oh, yeah, who's going to make me? That's what they say. You better give me that ball. Who's going to make me? That's what the kid says. He's telling you, I'm not giving you the ball. Bring it, bro. Bring it. And that's what Iran's saying. Who's going to make me, Donald Trump? And Trump has to look at it and say, even if I win, I lose. Let's say I bomb for a while and devastate Iran. But Iran still ain't going to give up. But they're going to close the Straits of Hormuz. And there's no way to get around the damage that will be done to your economy. Politically, oh, by the way, did I mention that this is during an election year for the midterms? You're going to get slaughtered. The good news, Trump, is you'll never make it to the midterms because you'll be run out of office long before the midterms if thousands of bodies start coming home. Run out of office. And you're the same buddies that you have in the Republican Party will join in to run you out of office. Yes, attack Iran. All right, go get them. Oh my God, we lost a lot of soldiers. Well, I didn't tell them to attack Iran. I mean, if you listen to me, they never attacked Iran. What a bad man. What about they will back out on you? They will turn their back on you and leave you to hang. It's Washington, D.C., man. You got no friends there. You know what, Donald Trump, they were trying to hang you before and they'll try to hang you again. And they will tell you, egg you on to attack Iran. And when the body bags start coming home, they will turn their back on you and swear to God on a stack of Bibles 10 miles high that they begged you not to do it. That if you'd only listened to them, we wouldn't be in this mess. You know that what they'll do. If you're stupid enough to get it, that's what you get. That's what you're going to get. Sadly, the American people are going to have to suffer. Sadly, our economy will be crapped out, maybe thrown into some kind of, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine, again, you do this, the Straits of Hormuz, and our economy starts going, let's say you get it open back up. Our economy's fragile. It ain't coming back like that. And what are you going to say? Layoffs everywhere. Now, and I'm telling you, Americans are not happy. They have been dealing with inflation. And you ain't seen inflation. Americans can't even think of their worst nightmare of the kind of inflation that they will get within days. Within days, maybe hours. Imagine that. Imagine what's going to happen. You attack. What's going to happen, Donald Trump? You better get cold feet because it's the end of your career. But the problem you have is it's the end of the U.S. empire, and there's no way out for the U.S. empire. If the U.S. empire attacks, Iran's going to fight back. And then, oh, by the way, you're in the Middle East where all the oil comes from. There's no way to have that fight. And Iran's saying it's going to be a fight all over the Middle East. We got help. We got people all over the place that's ready to fight. So it's going to be a fight all over, not just there. You want to fight all over the Middle East? You want a gigantic war in the Middle East? You can do that. That's what you're going to get. all over. The oil-rich region of the world will be a war zone. How you think that's going to work out for your economy? How you think that's going to work out for you politically, Donald Trump? How do you think it's going to work out? I think we know. Now, if you don't do it, here's the other side of it. Iran's called you bluff, brother. So yeah, that's why I say even if you win, you lose. Doesn't matter what you do. You're damned if you do, and you damned if you don't. And you put yourself in this position with your big fat mouth. As soon as you said to Iran, you better do what I say or else, you take the chance. Anybody, if I say to you, you better do what I say or else, I better damn sure be ready to do the or else. Us. You might call my bluff on it. You better do this or I'm going to do that. What happens if the person just says, well, I'll make it easy for you. Go ahead and do it. I'll make it easy for you. There's no chance I'm doing that. Whatever your or else is, you better get with, better get to or else, and brother, because the answer is no. And as soon as Trump said, you better do this, look at this. And I got brought in chips. I brought in this or that. Iran was like, we are not amused, my friend. We expected you to do that. There's nothing. Do you know we've been planning for the last 35, 40 years? We've been planning 50 years, since 1979. We've been planning. And now here you come. And we're going to be sitting there, and when you come after us, we're going to say, we've been planning for this since 1979. And here they come. Guys, institute the plan. And you don't know what else they've got up their sleeve, but they got some things up their sleeve. Now, you got their ships. All right. What happens if planes start getting shot down? What happens if you get in a fight with them? Let's just say you're in a fight, but it ain't an easy one. Like you're in a fight, but you're landing some punches, but they're shooting some planes down. You're landing some punches, but some ships get hit. You're landing some punches, but some bases are getting hit. You're losing men and they're losing people. You're losing people, they're losing people. Here's the problem. You attack them. So their country is going to say people are dying defending their country. And your people are going to say, why the hell am I paying $12 for a pack of eggs and I can't afford $10 a gallon for gas? What the hell are you people doing in Washington, D.C.? See, that's the difference. You attack them, their people will be defensive. And the rest of the world's watching it. Right now, the rest of the world's watching. Everybody's looking. Iran said no. What's the U.S. going to do? No matter what happens, the rest of the world knows that somebody can say no to you. You're not the hegemon anymore. You're not the world's unipolar power. You don't run everything. By threatening Iran and putting Iran in a position where they had to say yay or nay, and because of who they are, there was no possibility they were going to say yay. They're going to call you, which means they're going to make you fight if you got it in you to fight. Now, I may be wrong. But I say this every single time. It is possible that, for all I know, it is possible that Trump could attack them before, like, that could be like right now while I'm talking. Well, I don't think he's going to attack, and they could be attacking right. I don't know. We don't know nothing. I don't think Trump pulls the trigger. I still don't think Trump pulls the trigger. I may be wrong. Everybody says there's no way out for him. Well, you know what? He's put them all there. Really? It's going to be a hell of a. I'll put it like this. If Trump thinks he's going to get humiliated if he pulls those ships out and planes out, he'll be humiliated a hell of a lot more if he don't. I'll put it like that. If if he doesn't pull those out, now you've got one of these aircraft carriers. I don't know if you've been reading it. There's an aircraft carrier, was it George Bush or something, that like the sewage system ain't working. They've got very, very bad problems with the sewage system, and that's no fun. Like there's long lines to go through, but that's being reported. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's being reported. It could be that there's people that don't want them. They're reporting that because there's people that don't want it to happen, and they're just saying, well, let's just report that there's a problem on the poop deck, right? But if it's true, you got problems in your aircraft carriers, and you have more problems. I think it's true. All somebody says true. I think it's true. Apparently, it's being reported that it's true. You think they got problems now? They ain't got problems till missiles come whistling in. What do you do? How do you deal with this? See, either way you lose. Think about this. If you say, if Iran says no, and you say, okay, well, we're going to back down. Well, then people say, well, there you go. Iran, you threaten them. They called your bluff. You went home. At that point, you can't argue you're the hegemon or the world power anymore, can you? Now, let's go the other route. You attack them. And I'll put it like this. They don't have to win. All they got to do is hit back. All they got to do is take a punch and hit back. And Iran can take a punch and hit back. Those are two things. They can take a punch and they can hit back. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, any number of ways can happen. You can have a dominant, lots of hits, and they can have a few. Or, as I suspect, you can get hit real hard. You could lose planes. I mean, we're not accustomed to flying our planes into an area where there's heavy electronic warfare and there's very, very significant and effective air defense systems. We're not used to that. You start sending soldiers in there and they start not coming back. Bases get hit. And like I said, ships get hit. Then what do? See, you got the same problem, because at that point, once you get punched in the face, you're not the world hegemon. People say, well, I thought you were just going to dominate everybody. See, the US couldn't just beat Iran. They would have to dominate Iran with ease and thrash them and trash them and smash them with ease. If they get in a protracted war and Iran's throwing the punches, if they're throwing the punches and Iran throwing the punches, the US loses. You lose if they get to throwing punches. And guess what? They can take it a lot longer than you. How long can you go with that? We don't have air defense missiles before a couple of weeks. What if Iran says a couple of weeks, my ass? You started a fight now. We're talking about 6 to 8 months minimum. We can't afford to have the Straits of Hormuz closed, where 25% of the world's gas and 30% of the world's oil goes through every day. And likely the Red Sea will be closed off too, or at least it'll be difficult to be in. So what you mean to tell me that we're going to put ourselves in a position where our hydrocarbons could be cut off for a long time? And the American people, when you talk about rising up, woo! This country will become politically and economically unstable and politically unstable, and all the markets will crash to hell. And then you ain't getting them back just by getting the war over. So which means if you don't attack them, you look like a schmuck. And they have called your bluff, and you got to give them some kind of deal. And what are you going to do? Iran said, you got to make a deal. If you don't attack them, you have to make a deal. You can't just walk away and say, you better do what we tell you. And Iran says, no. And you go, all right, we're going home. Never mind. Screw it. Then they called your bluff and sent you home like a little chump, whining. You better. No, shut up. And you know what Iran will probably say when the U.S. says, well, we're taking our planes and going home? Iran said, you better take them. And don't you come back. Don't you understand me? You take your planes, you take your ships, you get the hell out of my neighborhood. And if you ever come back, if I ever see you on my block again, I'm going to send you home again. Next time I ain't going to be so nice. You understand? Oh, they can walk. They can talk trash at that point if you're walking home. Next thing is this. If you attack them and you get punched in the teeth, it's even worse. So the only out for the U.S. is to go to Russia and China and say, please, can you get me a deal? And just make up a fake deal. Just take the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, the nuclear deal. Just take it. Cross out the part that says Obama and write in Trump. Here you go. We'll take that. Well, guess what? Bad news. Now that you have pooped the bed diplomatically, Iran ain't going to take that. What did Iran say? Iran said, we are willing. See, back then, the U.S., and what you need to know about the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, is the Iranians signed it, and the United States was supposed to drop the sanctions. And the Iranian kept up their end of the bargain, and the U.S. never dropped the sanctions. So now what the Iranians saying is they have a higher demand. They're saying, look, we can go back into that, whatever, JCPOA, call it, but change the acronym. We don't care. Come up with the new, we're ready to do that. But this time we ain't going to do it till you drop the damn sanctions. Okay? This time you will drop the sanctions in return for it. Again, if the U.S. drops the sanctions in return for that, number one, the whole idea of controlling the Middle East and putting Iran in its place and greater Israel and Israel dominate, it's over. That whole idea is over. If we make a deal and drop the sanctions, guess what Iran's going to do? They're going to make a fortune in oil, and they're going to grow even more powerful than they are now. Oh, by the way, Russia's working with them to build an air defense. They're going to get better and better. They're going to buy more and more. They're going to get more and more powerful. If you can't beat them now, you sure as hell won't be able to beat them then. So if the U.S. makes a deal with them, we got to drop the sanctions. And you know what Iran's going to say? You don't drop the sanctions, no deal. What are we going to say then? Well, if you don't, we'll attack you. Iran's going to say, I think we just went through that, didn't we? I think, do we really have to do this thing again? You told us you were going to attack us. We said, go ahead and attack us. You told us you better do it. We said, do what you got to do, and you back down. And now we're telling you, we ain't taking any deals from you on nukes or anything else unless you drop every damn sanction. And if you say you ain't dropping the sanctions, then walk or attack or whatever you're going to do. We're here. You're here. You got to make some decisions. That's where the United States has put themselves. And see, now that we have a changing world, and now that military technology has caught up with us, then there's no way out of it. See, here's the problem the U.S. has in a nutshell. We got ships, right? But we don't have that good of missiles. Tomahawk's an old missile. We don't have hypersonic missiles at all, which a lot of other countries have. We've got some decent stuff. A ship is nothing but a platform. And you use that platform to launch things and to throw long distance missiles and things like that at your enemies. That's all it is. The reason we do planes, the reason we do ships is because we want to be a long way and we can't afford to take casualties. So we got to be 1,000 miles away and throw our missiles and throw everything at you. We've got to operate from an area that's so far from the adversary. Think about it. That's why the United States has these ships and all these other things. Why? Because we can't take casualties, because our wars are unjust, and the American people, no country's people, will accept casualties in an unjust war. And our wars are always unjust because we lie to the American people about what they're about. And sooner or later, the American people figures out, hey, there was no weapons of mass destruction. It takes some of these idiots 5-6 years to figure it out. But eventually they'll say, I think I was lied to about Iraq, Syria, Libya, Ukraine, Taiwan. At some point, they realized that they were lied to about every single one of them. And so you can't take casualties because the American people do not have a just reason to say we're willing to give up the lives of our sons and daughters for this, because it's just, because it's never just. So we don't have a situation in which we can take casualties, and Iran does. And Iran saying, we got to take casualties, we got to take casualties. You want to take them too, and no shortage of them. And Trump can't take casualties, but he has to, but he can't. The term conundrum, contradiction comes to mind. And here we sit in the midst of a gigantic empire of contradictions. Now we run the world. We're telling everybody what to do. Let me explain this to you as an empire. You can't run the world and tell everyone what to do if you can't take casualties, because somebody's going to say, I ain't going to do it. And when that person says they ain't going to do it, you have to go in and you have to make them do it. But what if you can't make them do it anymore because their military technology has got to the point where they can knock the snot out of you? And you can't go home to your people and say we lost 500, 5,000, 10,000, 5 soldiers. You can't do that. A lot of problems here. And there we go. So now where people get all excited, they're sending more planes and more strata tankers and sending more ships and sending more that, they're sending more targets for Iran. They're sending more targets for Iran and Russia and China. And I think Russia and China are up to here with the United States. I think a lot of countries are, and they're saying, we're going to arm these people. They're already armed to the teeth. We're going to give them more technology. We're going to give them excellent technology. And if you want to do this, it ain't going to work out well at home. Donald Trump is going to find out if he does this. The Trump administration will find out what happens when the body bag starts coming home, and it ain't going to be pretty. They will find out what happens when we get 400% inflation in 4 days, and it ain't going to be pretty. And that's where Trump is, painted into a corner, waiting to see. Oh my God. And now we are told that the Joint Chiefs of Staff, we are told that the head of the CIA are saying, look, if you do this, we can't guarantee it'll be short. We can't guarantee that it'll even work. So now you're going to lay everything on the line, almost guarantee the absolute destruction of your presidency, you'll finally get what you want, Donald Trump. You're always saying nobody's ever had did this like me. I went to the doctor. He said he's never seen results like that. What we've done, nobody's ever built economy like that. You know what they'll say? No president's ever screwed up like you. You'll finally, in the ugliest, worst kind of way, get what you want. You will live forever in American history. Well, there was this. Who was Donald Trump? He was the first president to lose an aircraft carrier, and he lost two. Do you know how many ships this guy lost in one day? Oh my God, the American people were so furious when. And oh, by the way, he was the first person to ever raise prices 400% in 4 days. Isn't that something? He lost 400 troops, and prices went up 400% in 4 days. Really, what they do? You don't want to know. What the American people do? I don't want to tell you that one because it wasn't pretty, but that's not important right now. It's all in the history books. See what I'm saying? All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Don't forget, if people are asking me about my tinfoil hat, right? Well, if you look in the show notes now, I have fixed the link, and you can go in the show notes and you can go to my merch store with all the goodies. Look at this. Hey, it's a Biden bomb or Nord Stream shirt. It's a Nixon shirt, right? And of course, if you go down below, look at this. Tinfoil hats in the old tinfoil way, different kinds of hats. And then the tin and the foil, we got truckers hats and all kinds of stuff. Port Authority soft brush canvases with the tinfoil or the tin and the foil. I prefer that. So there you go. Just go to the show notes and look at the just go to the show notes. Oops. Go to the show notes and hit the link for my merch, and you can get your own tinfoil hat. Nobody, unless you're wearing a tinfoil hat. Thanks a lot. By the way, thanks to everybody, as always, my people who are on Patreon, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, the people who contribute and keep this channel going. I certainly appreciate it. Cash App, some people do that. And of course, there's my P.O. box for those. Some people send a letter, some people send a donation, some people send a card, some people send their manifesto, you name it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Certainly appreciate everybody who supports the channel. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share this on all your social media platforms. Adios, my friends. AMF, I'm out.